Dominic Keating. I played Lieutenant Malcolm Reed on Enterprise, as you probably know, and you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast. Enjoy.
Yes, you are listening to the NX 7062 podcast, as I quickly have to change my audio settings. I had some fun today. Hi guys, let's start off with hello War Dog and Janine and Nancy and Robert and Dave. Hello. Hey Robert, good evening to you too. So I was having problems with a website today. It for the last couple of weeks, it wasn't loading properly. And it was one that I use not all the time, but enough where I was finally like, F this. So I asked Google, and the first thing about a website not loading properly is, reinstall Google. I'm like, I am not reinstalling Google. I am not taking it out and reinstalling Chrome. I am not going through that BS. So then it was reset. Hi, Kyle. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Love new faces, new IDs. I should say new IDs. Don't have faces, but I do love a new YouTube ID. So hi, Kyle. Thanks for joining. And so it says put YouTube back, or put Google back to its original settings. So I cleared out the cache. I put Google back to its original settings. But then, of course, forgetting, then I'm like, well, why is this black when I had to go find my Superman theme again, all this other stuff. So, but, the website that was messing around is now fixed. So while this is all loading, I realized that the default audio was wrong. So I had to fix that. And I'm like, trying to do that. Oh, well, I'm glad you've decided to join the conversation. I have no problems with lurkers. I love people that watch. I don't care. You never obligated to join the chat, but I love it. I love it that you decided to say hi, Kyle. So hello. But yeah, so literally it started and I went, shit, it's coming out of the wrong speakers. So I needed to change that because I needed to make sure that you guys were in my mic or in the right speakers, and the mic was the right one. Okay. So I meant to wear this last week. I got this in San Francisco from obviously the Be Kind. Everybody has one that I know. Because you see those amazing pictures from like the cruise and everything where there's just a sea of not just Be Kind shirts, but the blue Kenneth Mitchell Be Kind shirts. And I thought, this is a crowd I am more than happy to join. And what I didn't know, what Raymond explained to me when I got it is that if you buy one of these, if you guys don't have one, and that's awesome, War Dog. If you guys don't have one, or you do, go buy another one, because the proceeds from this shirt actually go to support ALS research. So these shirts specifically go for ALS. The rest of the Be Kind merch goes for Pop Culture Hero Coalition, but this one very specifically is an ALS. And in honor of Kenneth, of course, I was going to go get myself one. So now I just added this one to my collection because these only come as t-shirts. If anybody knows me, if anybody's ever seen me in my Be Kind stuff, all of my other Be Kind stuff is tanks. They're all tank tops, but I gave up the tank because I wanted to earn the shirt. Yeah, exactly. And they did one on the cruise too, Dave. There's one on the cruise. They do them every year. And now I can be included because y'all know I'm going to STLV, trying to figure out how I'm going to do a booth. I actually emailed, I know pretty much the beauty of volunteering as much as I have for creation in the past. I freaking know everybody. I know all the players. So I actually was able to email. I emailed the person that's in charge of booze, and I'm like, I don't suppose you split payments. I really feel like saying, do you take Afterpay? But unfortunately, they don't. So I've got to figure out if I can do the smallest booth, which is what they call the island booth, which is one of the ones that's in the middle where you don't, the ones on the edge or the wall ones, those are a little more expensive, but the island booths, those are like 600 and change. So I'm trying to figure out how I can make that work. Oh, by the way, big thank you to Nancy. If anybody goes and sees that my wish list doesn't have anything in it, it's because Nancy helped fulfill my final wish on my wish list. So haven't ordered it yet, Nancy, but thank you. I wanted to publicly thank you for helping me clear off my wish list. We had to go through a couple little hoops over the weekend as far as delivery went, but thank you. Big, huge thank you to Nancy. And Nancy actually knows what my big announcement tonight is because she was kind enough to help clean off my wish list. I gave her a sneak peek at what the big announcement is going to be. But whenever I pass out Be Kind shirts at the cons, it brings the smiles. Yes, it is the best message. That's awesome, Dave. That is so awesome. Y'all, you guys all saw a couple weeks ago that that I had on the latest Be Kind shirt from Gallifrey. Every year Gallifrey one, they always have so many really cool they always have one really cool t-shirt for Gallifrey. So a couple years ago it was Run Fast, Laugh Hard, Be Kind, which was something that Peter Capaldi said. This year it was something that Rose said in Parting of the Ways. So I'm actually helping Raymond. I sent him I'm not going to tell anybody what it is. I hope that they use it on the t-shirt, but I'm a member of enough Doctor Who Facebook pages that they posted a really cool Capaldi, another 13 quote, another Capaldi quote that's really good that I hope they use for the t-shirt next year. So yeah, so if you're ever on the Be Kind merch site, which you should all be doing, come on, we all got to be kind. So if you're ever on the, wait, where is it? There it is. So when you head over to the Be Kind merch site, the Doctor Who stuff's pretty cool because it's different. It's different ways of saying be kind. So is the Michelle Hurd one about kindness is power. So head over to BeKindMerch.org and support Chase, support and get cool t-shirts. It's fun when you support things and you get cool t-shirts for your support. So all right, so that's enough for the PSA. On to other things. Something I forgot to mention last week when I was in San Fran, I think I might have mentioned that me and my friends ended up talking to Todd Stashwick about this coffee that he recommends, this New Mexico Pinon, Pinon Pinon. So stinking good. Oh my God. I am usually like a Starbucks dark roast girl. Like normally I am all about my French roast in the morning, but this New Mexico, and they have a dark roast version. I might try that next, but I decided to go with the one that Todd recommended, which was just the basic New Mexico Pinon. Oh my God, there's like hints of chocolate. It literally smells like chocolate when you open the bag. Oh my God, so stinking amazing. So I highly recommend it. Anybody that's going to pop over to Amazon, it's available. It's a 2-pound bag. It's only like $17 for a 2-pound bag of whole beans because Todd was impressed. I impressed Todd Stashwick. I'm not going to lie. He was pretty happy to hear that my coffee maker, it's a Cuisinart. My coffee maker, you dump the beans in the top and it grinds them right into the basket and then brews it. It's the best way, the best way to get fresh coffee because it just, oh my gosh, so good, so good. It's how I do it every morning pretty much. Unless I'm in a hurry and I do have my backup little 5-cup, just throw the grounds in and brew it. That's my yes, coffee chat, #coffee chat. I should just be hashtagging coffee chat. I'm 32 ounce. I don't have one sitting on my desk, but my day job, I have a 32 ounce cup of coffee every stinking morning. I have these really great thermal mugs. I'm not going to tell you where I got them from because I stopped going to this company, which sucks because their thermal mugs are fantastic. But it's like a big 32 ounce thermal mug. It's huge, huge. And it holds the heat really well. So, all right. So now, before we start talking about Discovery, caffeine comes in the Imperial Cane Sugar Dr. Pepper. Just saying. I am a fan of Dr. Pepper. I am absolutely a fan of Dr. Pepper. I've been drinking it since I was a kid. So I am a fan of Dr. Pepper. And Diet Dr. Pepper really does taste like regular Dr. Pepper. I am a huge fan of Dr. Pepper. Okay. So before we get into the whole disco thing, because we are going to get a little disco. And what's funny is now that I'm talking to you about it, I actually do have a disco shirt somewhere. Yes, exactly. On the spot, fresh ground, and not like grind it and then dump it. That's what I love. It's not like you have to grind it in a separate thing and dump it. It grinds right into the damn coffee maker. You don't have to do anything except tell it how many cups you want. That's it. And tell it the strength that you want. It's a Cuisinart. You can find it on Bed Bath & Beyond. For those of you that don't know, Bed Bath & Beyond got bought out by Overstock. So it still exists, but just in an app form. But they still do like the 20% offs and stuff. So it's on there. It's a Cuisinart brew grind. I think it's like brew grind. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's under $200. Oh, there you go. There you go, War Dog. That's awesome. Mine are just the ones that say disco on the front and then have the little on the side. It's just a basic disco shirt. A couple years ago at STLV, I saw people wearing ones that said enter and then on the back it said prize. I really want to get that too, but the disco one is cool and I have it somewhere. I just I promised myself I was going to grab this one because I meant to wear it last week and completely forgot. So, big announcement. I don't have any audio for a drum roll. I should probably get that. I have confirmed that Jonathan Del Arco, barring any scheduling conflicts, will be doing my show on April 22nd. He and I chatted and we locked in April 22nd. So barring any, like I said, he's an actor. Things come up. If he's got a job, something happens. But as of right in this moment, Jonathan Del Arco will be on this show on April 22nd. So guys, get your Hugh questions ready. Go look him up on IMDb. He's done some really cool stuff besides Hugh. Thanks, War Dog. Besides Hugh, he's done some really fun stuff. Including Huff, which I'm saving this for when he's here. But Huff, it was one of my favorite cable dramedies. I guess you could call it dramedy. But he's done a lot of stuff. So go look him up. Go think of your questions. He is going to be here live, which I'm really glad about. When I saw him in San Francisco, the last I had talked to him it was going to have to be a taped show, but the Monday night commitment that he had is done for the moment. So now he can come on live. So yes, I am very excited. He is such a sweetheart. He's a fellow dog lover. Yes, I have cats, but we talked about our dogs. I had a dog for 16 years. So we talked about our dogs, cried a little about mine. It was great. He's fun. He's fantastic. He's just a big sweetheart. We had a really good chat. And for those of you that don't know, the Star Trek Rat Pack, I know I mentioned this, their CD is out. They finally have a CD, and there's a song on there called A Borg Named Hugh that Vaughn Armstrong does that is freaking hysterical. And if I can get my stupid desktop computer, which I bought specifically because it had a DVD CD-ROM drive still, like they still make those, it's not working. Brand new, like the first time I tried it, relatively new computer, and it doesn't even register. So, awesome, War Dog. That's so awesome. You're going to love it. It's fantastic. They've got Ethan Phillips jokes peppered in between the music. Driving in my car, top down, singing Zindi at the top of my lungs. It was great. Car's old enough to have a CD player, which makes me happy. I need to get this fixed. I need to get my computer to recognize the damn CD-ROM drive so I can take the CD and put it on my iPod and hopefully play a boy named Hugh or a Borg named Hugh when Jonathan comes on. I have a lot of friends that do like the whole take the computers apart. I'm hoping beyond hope that it's just that at some point during the shipping process, he is a sweetheart, that it's literally like one little plug. I'm just hoping the plug that connects the CD-ROM drive to the computer itself is just loose and I just have to plug it back in. Keep your fingers crossed for that one, guys. Okay, so we are here to talk about Star Trek Discovery, which, yes, exactly. He is, yes. Yes, Dave. Absolutely. He's such. I'm sure that was amazing. Why isn't this working? Oh, because it had to take Be Kind away. Okay, there we go. Yep. When I saw Michelle, I talked to her about. I'm the only reason I'm saying this is because Jonathan was on the show before when I did that special for United We Trek. So just thinking about that popped Michelle into my head because that's what I talked to Michelle about. I didn't talk to her about Star Trek. I talked to her about how amazing she was with the SAG-AFTRA strike, and yeah, I bet you had an amazing conversation with Jonathan about the LGBTQ community. Hello, Puka. Welcome. Good to see you. All right, and you're just in time. We're 16 minutes in. Still have not gotten to the topic of the evening, which is Star Trek Discovery, which aired on September 24th, 2017, which ended the drought, the 12-year drought between when Enterprise ended in May of 2005 with that horrible, as we all know, horrible episode that we don't talk about until, September of 2017. That was about 12 years to not have Star Trek on the air. And then it premiered on what used to be CBS All Access. And if you remember, like the first 2 episodes, I think, aired on CBS. I know the first one did. I think the second one did as well. They were trying to get people to buy into CBS All Access because CBS All Access was relatively new. So they were trying to tease all the Star Trek fans with a couple of episodes on primetime and then get them all to be like, oh, well, the rest of it's streaming. Didn't quite work because we all know New Trek, I think, honestly, my personal opinion, as excited as the Trek community gets for New Trek, then they get it, and then all they do for the first few weeks is pick it the hell apart. I just was so excited that there was Trek to be had. I was like, let's get this going. Let's see where this goes. Not that I didn't raise an eyebrow about the way the Klingons looked and the whole 24 houses after we'd already figured out it. Literally, Enterprise went through the trouble of explaining why they look like humans in TOS. And then by the time we got to the first movie, why they changed. Enterprise went to a lot of trouble to figure out, to tell the story of this is why there's some human looking ones and some that aren't human looking. And then here's Discovery with a whole new set of looks. Here's these bald Klingons that don't look that they don't dress like we're used to. They don't look like we are only 10 years out from TOS. And you also have to remember, I don't know, I got a sneak peek. That big spiny space Klingon spacesuit that we saw. Hey, Jober! So good to see you. Missed you so much. Absolutely. It's been a while. So glad you're back. Good to have you. So that big spiny spacesuit that we literally saw, and then Michael blew the Klingon away, that started the whole war. I will tell you this. I got to see that spacesuit a month before the premiere because that was my first year working. That was my first Star Trek Vegas. It was my first STLV, and I was volunteering, and they pulled me off the merch table to literally go stand at the door for the Star Trek Discovery display. Because back when they were licensed, Paramount gave them enough Discovery props and costumes and everything to set up this gorgeous room with these displays. It was so much fun. Not so much to be standing there and going, please enter on this side, please keep the line moving. But anyway, that suit was there. That suit was there. It was 3D printed, each piece individually placed. Oh, Jober, so sorry. I would have gone to Paris with you. I would have carried whatever you needed to carry. Je parle français un peu. Anyway, so they 3D printed all those little spines. That thing cost $250,000. It cost more than my fucking house. Pardon my language, but that thing that had exactly one scene, never to be seen again. $250,000, more than my house. Somebody went to touch it, and I said, "I'm sorry, sir, please don't touch that was the whole point. I was standing there, please don't touch this." And he made some snide comment. I'm like, it's $250,000. You touch it and it falls over. But yeah, don't you just love it? All the workmanship, all the money, everything that went into that for that one. I mean, it was an amazing scene, but did we see that? Did we see it again? No, we did not see it again. Yes, War Dog. All of that for that one scene in the Vulcan Hello where Burnham blew the Klingon in the spacesuit away. It was that suit. Mm-hmm. Yep. Talk about going big or going home, right? And then what does our leading lady do but start a war with the Klingons, get herself completely demoted, kicked out, the whole 9 yard. I thought it was a great way to start. I mean, seriously, the lead in a Star Trek TV show, and the first thing she does is go against orders, get her captain killed, and get herself booted and demoted and all that fun stuff, and become a pariah basically within Starfleet. That's a pretty kick-ass way to start, and definitely new territory. Yeah, exactly. It was a rockin' start to the series and different than any other series. And you know that I love Enterprise because it's raw and we're stumbling around out there. And it's not the spit and polish of the other series. And for Discovery to be spit and polish Starfleet, and then to have Michael be kind of this rogue, and then you find out she's Spock's sister. So now we're all like, WTF. Because how did that happen? How did we not, that whole thing, how do we not know? But then you can go back and look at Star Trek V and and realize, well, we didn't know he had a half brother either. Vulcans tend to be very tight-lipped about their family. I mean, how long did it take in Journey to Babel to find out that Sarek and Amanda were Spock's parents, right? It's not like he went, "Mom, Dad, welcome aboard." So I guess there is something to be said for the fact that Vulcans, if not just Spock specifically, but Vulcans tend to be very tight-lipped about personal things like who the hell they're related to and who their family adopted. And then we had to wait, 2 seasons to figure out why we never heard about a spore drive and why we never heard about Michael. And it's because they all became classified information. I don't know. I mean, I really guess that was probably one of the only ways. There you go. There you go. Referred to as ancestor. There you go. Yeah, that was the whole hitch in the get along to my being to watch Disco, and Anne Marie got me over that one at the front. Oh, that's awesome. Go, Anne Marie. And Vulcans lived on Earth in the 50s. That's right, they did. And they liked I Love Lucy. Go figure. I don't watch Carbon Creek that much. I have mentioned this before. I tend to not like the episodes that everybody thinks are like the most amazing episodes, or like, oh my God, Carbon Creek. I mean, I liked Carbon Creek, don't get me wrong, and I thought it was, I found it incredibly interesting. And I actually dated a guy that was from Doylestown, Pennsylvania. So it was interesting. West by God, Virginia. It was Doylestown, Pennsylvania. Did they move west? And I didn't know, but they were outside of Carbon Creek was outside of Doylestown, PA. It doesn't exist, but they did mention Doylestown. It was Pennsylvania because they mentioned Doylestown. And Doylestown is in Pennsylvania. I don't live that far from Doylestown. So, yeah, I was like, yay, Doylestown. Okay, so, all right, so let's see what else. But the other thing, I mean, and look at all the amazing actors that Disco introduced us to. I loved Sonequa Martin Green one of the things that I told her, I saw her at a convention back when she was still on the Walker Stalker circuit, when she was, doing conventions for her appearance in her character in Walking Dead, which, by the way, was also one of the worst kept secrets, because when everybody found out that she was moving over to Discovery, like, everybody figured that she was gonna have to, get zombied in Walking Dead. But oh my God, I loved her death scene. I loved what she did in the end of Walking Dead. If you're gonna go out of Walking Dead as a zombie, go out the way she did. Cool. I forgot that PA is basically burning a seam of it. Yep, we've got coal. There's coal in them our Pennsylvania mines. Yep. Train of thought completely just derailed. But I actually have one of these. I got this from the Rio, but I actually have one of these. It says Rio, but I've used it so much that the two sides. Oh, this one did the same thing. You can still use it, but the extra layer of thermal becomes detached. But I have one downstairs that actually says Rio on it. Worth it to get a giant freaking Miami Vice when you're at the STLV poolside. Yeah, exactly. It was like the best. It was like the best way to go out. I thought it was great. Like I said, like everybody pretty much figured it out when they announced her for Disco that she was leaving. But look, Mary Chieffo was the head of one of the houses back then. I think was great way to show that Klingon women, even though they didn't show them a lot. Did they even show? I'm sitting here wondering, did they do Klingon women in TOS? I don't think so. I don't know. I literally don't know if they've ever done Klingon women in TOS. So the fact that they decided 10 years before, technically 10 years in the timeline before TOS, to have Mary Chieffo as like the main Klingon, I thought was awesome. Love Mary. She's fantastic. One episode. Thanks, Janine. Wasn't sure. Like I said, could not remember for the life of me. I'm sitting here wondering. Oh, so sorry. Train back on track. Sonequa. So I saw Sonequa at a Walker Stalker. Thank you very much, guys. Because like I said, I can't remember. I appreciate that. So Sonequa, I actually went up and I talked to her and I said I thought she played a human raised by Vulcans perfectly. I really did. I thought she pulled it off. I because you always have to wonder, it's all that whole nature versus nurture thing. I mean, she was raised in a completely logical society, yet the last things humans are on a regular basis, the way Vulcans are, is logical. So I thought that was really an interesting take on Vulcan culture and how humans see Vulcan culture. And I always thought that she played it. I always thought that she played it very, very well. The one thing, I personally like the Xindi arc in Enterprise. I thought maybe it, awesome. Day of the Dove. Thanks, Robert. I'll have to watch that. Thank you. So Day of the Dove is the TOS episode with female Klingons. Awesome. Thanks. Again, thoughts. Oh, okay. I liked the Xindi arc. Could they have done it better? Yes. Could some of the episodes, could they have moved along a little bit better? Yes, because at some point, especially when back then it was 22 episodes per season, whereas let's look at it. Discovery's very first season only had 15 episodes. They had just over half as many episodes as Enterprise did in its first season. But that's a long time to do a story arc. So yes, you're only doing 15 episodes. So yeah, you can kind of have like this continuity, this story arc that's kind of underlying. But you would have thought with the way that the Xindi arc was not appreciated as much as they had hoped. I mean, again, Rat Pack, Xindi, explains it better than I could. And it's set to music. And no, I'm not going to sing it for you. I don't sing it as well as Jeff Combs. But that's what they decided to do with Disco. They decided to do like this underlying arc. And it was okay. But I'm just surprised that they took that risk after how they got maligned for doing it with Enterprise. And I know there's like 12 years between them, but you have to wonder, when you're coming back for the first time to fans, are you really going to do something that they really didn't appreciate, that a lot of them didn't appreciate the first time you tried it? Then again, I mean, the whole Dominion War thing, how many seasons did that last on DS9? Okay, so, and let's not forget that were it not for the second season of Disco, we wouldn't have Strange New Worlds. I mean, that whole thing, the Red Angel thing, I was not a fan of. Xindi arc and Manny Koto. Absolutely. Yeah, I loved Xindi arc. I really did. I thought it was interesting. Although probably one of my favorite episodes was North Star, only because there were horses, and I'm a huge fan of westerns, so I liked watching Connor and Jolene try to figure out how to ride a horse. I thought that was pretty funny. It is not as easy as it looks, just because you can get into the saddle. But it was definitely funny. That, and when Reed shot T'Pol at the end, he stunned her just to get to the guy behind her. I thought that was pretty cool. Let's see. Whole first season. Okay, yep. And now back to, I mean, and how many of us out there were like, with the spore drive? Like, how are they explaining this? With the Red Angel, I think I was confused by it at first and didn't really know how it fit in. Yeah, it was just, and then they brought her mom back, and then it was all this jumping around. But then meanwhile, you've got to worry about the AI that's turning into this threat. Yeah, it just really, that one was a hard season, but I stuck with it. I want to know more about what Edison did during Xindi War. Oh yeah, the horse will definitely help you get down. No doubts about that. Yeah. Getting behind the spore drive and getting behind Michael. And then, like I said, you had 2 seasons to figure out, oh, that's how they answered it. They just shot them into the future. But then at least they shot them into the future past everything else. A couple of other I loved their version of the Mirror Universe. I thought their Mirror Universe was great. I love that they spent decent amount of time in the Mirror Universe. I loved it. I loved it. It wasn't Prime Lorca. It was really Mirror Lorca. Loved that. Loved Georgiou. Loved her. My favorite freaking character. Cannot wait for the Section 31 thing to happen. Love Section 31, and I love that she's going to be a part of it, and I really can't wait. But I mean, we can't overlook how freaking sorry guys, I don't know, something stuck in my throat and I am running out of water. And you know what? I have not trained the cats to bring me water. And I don't have a replicator handy. But unlike some, I love Mirror. Oh yeah, no, I know a lot of people that love Mirror. I was just talking to my friend, called me, literally hung up with her right before the show started. We were talking about Mirror Universe. We were talking about In a Mirror Darkly, which is one of my favorites. I love Mirror Kira. I think she's fantastic. I love it. I love watching. And I asked a couple people in San Francisco about how much fun it is to play evil, to be able to do things that you can't do in real life. It was Jonathan Del Arco and Robert Picardo, because I was talking to Robert about, he showed up in an episode of Young Sheldon a couple weeks ago. So, but then I said, yeah, and I love it when you show up in places. You were in that episode of CSI, and we're talking about how he was the bad guy, and he wrapped some people in cellophane and then set them on fire. So I'm like, see, you get to do that kind of stuff when you play evil, things that you can never do in real life. And then we had a whole discussion about things you can do with cellophane in the real world and how it's kind of frowned upon. But I think with the internet, you know, I mean, 2005, yes, there was an internet, but it wasn't the internet the way it is now. Did they? It's been so long since I've sat down and watched DS9. I started rewatching it and then just kind of lost the thread. They blew up Mirror. That's terrible. Poor Mirror Odo. But it's so easy to like hate on things now between all the social media. And I mean, the hatred for disco, it's like we got new Star Trek and everybody's turning around and they're like STD. I mean, seriously, that was unfortunate. Nobody, I mean, I don't know if anybody actually thought about it when they were naming the series. Probably not. But every other series was ST something. So of course it was going to be STD. Disco is so much better anyway. It's way more fun. But I mean, the divisiveness that surrounded disco, you know, Facebook groups. I had a Facebook group that would not let me join because one of their qualifying questions was, do you like the Kelvin Timeline movies? And I said yes, and they said no. I mean, the MySpace years. I still have a MySpace page. I actually worked in MySpace a little bit, did some MySpace for a friend of mine that had a band. For those of you that are familiar with, and I showed it here. For those of you that are familiar with the music video that Dominic did for the Sprint commercial, for this whole Sprint, when Sprint was trying to jump on the music download bandwagon in the very beginning, Dominic did a music video thing. Dominic's band from that commercial still has, it's been a while, but as a lark a few years ago, I checked, they actually have a MySpace page. They set up this whole thing. They gave him a whole new persona, and it was supposed to be like this whole huge marketing blitz for Sprint's music download service. And yeah, his band's got a MySpace page. Kelvin Timeline is fun, still awaiting 4. Yep. Aren't we all? But it actually looks like there's movement, which is exciting. You know, it's nice when you're losing something, like we're losing Discovery after this year or after this season, which by the way, the premiere is a week from Thursday. So we're losing Disco, but hopefully not only are we going to be gaining new Star Trek series like Legacy and then the Section 31 movie, but hopefully the Kelvin number 4 will be coming out. I think Chris Pine's actually attached to it because at one point I heard he wasn't coming back. But I think he's attached to it now. I don't know. I've just been, you know what? It's hard to know what to believe. Again, back to the internet. Not only was it spewing hate, were there people that were doing the STD and the hatred on Discovery, as much as the people are loving it. But then there's like so many rumors, and spoilers for those of you that didn't hear. Star Trek Prodigy got released on Netflix in France, which is just another reason why Jober, you missed out not going. I think they took it down, but it accidentally got released. Okay, but then one of the so-called Trek news outlets didn't just report on it, but they reported spoilers. Yay, Section 31 wrapped production. That is the best news I heard all day. That's awesome. I had a bad day at work, so that's awesome. I cannot wait for that movie. Like I said, I'm such a fan of Section 31. I loved Eric Pierpoint. I love Eric Pierpoint, and I don't know if he's in it. Probably not. I'd like for somebody to at least mention Harris's name. That would be cool, because he was awesome. I liked him better than the Deep Space Nine guy, but I'm biased. The Deep Space Nine guy isn't ever going to do my show, and Eric did in Alien Nation, goes without saying. So what did you? I mean, you're all here. I've got a room full of people. I'm assuming you all had opinions about Disco. I like it in the future. I think it's great being in the future. In the future gives them a chance to go back and reference all of, now they get to do stem bolts and TNG phasers. That scrapyard was great. The Orion Syndicate was awesome. And playing on, I talked about this last week, playing off of this playing off of the women actually run the Orion Syndicate. So in the future, they don't even have to pretend to be slave girls. You had Osira being just a kick-ass crime boss. Yeah, Disco 5 is going to hit the airwaves before Prodigy 2, except in France. And my home season 2 saved Discovery. All right, not your favorite. That's okay. You're allowed, Jober. You can still hang out with the cool kids. Season 2 saved Discovery. See, like I said, that whole Anson Mount, Spock and Pike, and number 1, I think, was a great addition to season 2. I will give you that. The Red Angel thing drove me crazy. I'm like, can we just figure it out? The dreams and all of that drove me crazy. They moved. I liked season 3. I thought season 3 was fantastic. I love Book. I think, you know what I think? Discovery. I think the Queen. I think the cat saved Discovery. Hey, Roy! Pike saved Disco. I think Pike in season 2 and the cat in season 3. I think our Queen saved it in season 3. I'm not going to lie. I think you're right, Roy. Hits higher than some shows for me, but not others. All right. See, that's fair. That's fair. Absolutely. That's the thing about Trek. There's so much of it. Like I've said so many times, there's so much of it. You can't. It's okay. You know, you have to have favorites, and not all of it's going to resonate with you. Best of New Trek, according to Jober. Jober's list goes Lower Deck, Strange New Worlds, and the Orville. You know, there is Grudge. Grudge is the best. Grudge is the best. The Queen is the best. I love her so much. She's awesome. And listen, you know, and there's just some really fantastic 8x10s. If you ever meet David Ajala, you gotta get the 8x10 with him and the Queen. Absolutely. Late to the party, but I'm here. Who's going to the NY premiere next week? Or did you already? I did not already cover that. Is anybody here going to the NY? I am not. My guess is Roy. Are you going to make the drive again from State College? Roy, sitting minding my own business at the premiere, the Strange New Worlds premiere last year. And who do I see but Roy, who got in his car and drove straight through from State College, 4 hour, like at least 4 hours, 4.5 hours to get into the city, depending on how you drive, just to go to the premiere and turn around and go home, which I think is awesome. No, I'm not going. Just not going to work out this time for me. Sorry, I'm not. I wish I was. I really do. Grudge is the best. David Ajala made a cat print in my Grudge book at Mission Chicago or STLB, you can't remember. Oh, that's so awesome. David Ajala is great. If David Ajala wasn't living in London, I would totally have him on this show. I did ask him when I saw him at Trek Long Island. I did ask him, and I might just have to tap him on the shoulder on Insta, see if he remembers me, and see if I can get him to do the show. Like I said, probably going to have to be a taped version of the show because he's all the way out there. I would also like to have Doug Jones on here. I think I want to get some more interviews under my belt before I go bother Cool Water Productions with, can I please have Dougie on my show? But yeah, that's definitely up there. Disco, I would definitely love to have Mary Chieffo. She's on my wish list for my show. Let's see, anybody else from Disco that I think I've talked to Noah about having him and Mary do the show. I might have to ping him again. It's been a while, so I don't know if he'll remember me or not, but never hurts to ask. That was the other thing. Mary Wiseman. Oh my God. Hello, Lasso. Yeah, I know. Disco. Disco for you is Wonder Woman in that one episode at the disco with the guys with the mental powers. But Disco. Hey, Lasso. Mary Wiseman, a Starfleet officer that was not a size 2. Caught flack for that. Haters gonna hate. Not everybody is a size 2. So You got Mary Wiseman. You've got Kubler and Stamlet's first openly gay couple. Then a couple years later, you introduce Blue DeBarrio as a gender neutral they them. It's disco is so wonderfully progressive. It is finally able to do what Star Trek, all the other Star Treks were either too soon or too gun shy, because let's face it, they could have done something in the aughts, but they didn't. We all know the story about how everybody said Malcolm Reed was supposed to be the first openly gay character, and then they decided to drop that. So the fact that disco right from the get had a openly gay couple, and then introduced Blue, and oh my god, I can't remember Blue's partner, the actor that plays Blue's partner, the Trill. Darn it. This is what I get for not writing these things down and just sometimes doing this stuff off the cuff. But I think that that's all completely fabulous. I think, and I just love watching. I mean, how much did those of us that know like watching the internet lose its collective shit about woke Star Trek? And you feel like it's like you haven't watched Star Trek. If you don't know that Star Trek in the 60s was woke, you haven't been paying attention to Gene Roddenberry's message. And that's the problem. When you're watching 1960s episodes, like it's no big deal because you're 80s babies and 90s babies or whatever it is. And you're not, if you didn't watch it back in the original, and I know I've got some viewers here that saw it when it originally came out. If you saw it when it originally came out, you can appreciate how woke it was for its time. I think part of the problem with people not understanding how progressive Star Trek was and what Star Trek has always tried to do is that if you look at something in the 1960s through the vision of the 90s, you're kind of gonna miss that. Yeah, exactly, Kyle. It really was. It really was. But if you're watching it out of cultural context because you're watching it now, you're not going to understand that. Robert Plant, Anthony Rapp was at Rhode Island. I love Anthony. Was at Rhode Island Comic Con in 2022, and one of my booth crew was dressed as Osira, and I sent her to see him, and he loved it. He is so great with the fans. He is so fantastic with the fans. I love Anthony. I like talking French with Anthony. Anthony's fluent in French. My French is iffy at best. It's very, very rusty. But I love going up to Anthony and asking him how he is in French. He is just one very cool guy. I really regret not having a chance to go see his one-man show up in New York. Just didn't have a chance, but I love seeing it. We were sitting across from him, the booth I was working. We were sitting across from him at STLV this year, so I got a chance to go up and say hi and give a quick chit chat. But yeah, he's somebody else I might have to reach out to on Twitter, maybe. Last I checked, you could actually message him on Twitter. There are some people on Twitter that close their DMs down, which I completely respect. But every now and then you can slide into somebody's DMs, and if you're lucky, they remember who you are and they write you back. So I'm also, yeah, I knew that, War Dog. Yeah, exactly. I mean, what they covered, the things that they did, especially Let This Be Our Last Battlefield, which is one of my favorite episodes. I love Frank Gorshin. So that was part of it, but the messaging of that episode and what it had to say was woke, quote unquote, for the time. And that's what I think gets lost on a lot of people that didn't see it or didn't live through the 60s and understand how important it was, what Star Trek was saying back then. Yeah, exactly. I mean, just look at the bridge. Just look at who Gene Roddenberry put on the bridge. The only thing that he could not put on that bridge that he wanted to, that he tried in the cage and then was able to do it when he did the menagerie, was a woman as the second in command. And he freaking backdoored it in when he decided to take the cage and make the menagerie. So he still got that point across. He just couldn't do it. Couldn't do it on the regular, but he still got the point across by cutting up the cage and sticking it in the menagerie, which to me, I think maybe because I've seen the cage just as the standalone, watching the menagerie is a little like, oh my God, it's an episode inside an episode. Ugh. but I still love the ingenuity of doing it. So there's a movie. Yes, Manhattan Transfer. Yep. Movie series thing coming called Manhattan Transfer, and a lot of Trek folk are going to be in it. Yep. I didn't know Connor was going to be in it. I only actually saw Dominic's name attached to it. I didn't know Connor's name was going to be attached to it. Valley Girl. Oh, there you go. Valley Girl. You're funny, Lasso. You're funny. Valley Girl. The song done by Frank and Moon Zappa. Anyway, but you forgot Bonnie. Bonnie Gordon's attached to that project as well. Yeah, I actually know somebody that knows the guy that's putting it together. You always know somebody who knows somebody. I'm not doing it anymore. I was doing that classic rock station thing I told you about it, guys, about. I stepped away from that just because there's just for sure. So turns out that the one guy that's higher up in the food chain at the conglomerate Autolist.com that I worked for is a huge trekker. So when he found out that I had this show, it just opened up a whole thing. And of course, he's like, oh, you should talk to this person. You should talk to that person. But he does know the guy that's working Manhattan Transfer. So I need to look into that a little more. And I do know they're doing a crowdfunding. I just need to check on some things. I always vet. I learned my lesson a long time ago. When it comes to the Star Trek community, you need to vet, before you hold out your hand. Trekker would be a cute name for a doggy. You're absolutely right, Lasso. I would have to agree with you. Not as cute as Drew is for a Siamese cat, but yes. But yeah, like the whole Axnar thing. How many people got behind Axnar? And then you find out, all of these then you find out that all of these things are happening with Alec Peters. So I've just learned my lesson about backing projects before I do my own research. But I have started that, so I could definitely be doing shows about Manhattan Transfer in the very near future. Just haven't decided yet. So, guys, Discovery next week starts the finale, the final season. So I am going to be back to I love Rico. Rico was a past guest. I love Rico. Yeah, exactly. It's not just the financial stuff too. You just got to vet people, because when you start asking people to come on your shows and start supporting them, you definitely want to make sure that they're worth supporting. So, yep, exactly. I looked. I didn't see Connor the last time I looked. But yeah, so. But yeah, it's definitely on my radar. Absolutely. Absolutely. So next week's show is definitely going to have a little review of no, not next week, the week after next, I guess. Yeah, okay, so April 4th. So Thursday, April 4th is Disco. So the first show in April is definitely going to have at least a little synopsis about Disco, because don't forget, I won't post on social media, but I will always say between 48 and 72 hours is the spoiler window. After that, it's all fair game. So if you're going to tune into any of my shows that come after an episode of Trek, know that if it's been 48 to 72 hours, there will be spoilers at the beginning. Okay. So, the general answer to that is not really. All I can tell you, Roy, is to keep watch on the Shuttlepod show's socials. Mark will obviously let everybody know what's going on as soon as decisions have been made, and what the future of the show is. I know there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that he has to work on to make these changes and to make the transitions. So he's doing all the behind the scenes transitioning. And as far as what is next for Connor and Dominic, they made a announcement in San Francisco that they do have another project in the works, but it's going to be at least 6 to 7 weeks, I think, and that was San Francisco. So I don't know. Again, I'm sure we just need to watch their socials and see what's coming up for everybody down the pike. I'm looking forward to April 4th, and if it's longer than 12 hours, it's spoiler land for me. Yeah, I give people, because how is Erica? That is a question for Erica. Puka. That is a question for Erica. To be honest, I don't talk about how people are unless they're here and you want to ask them. So that is an Erica question. So, but anyway, so that's about everything. You guys have any last thoughts about disco? Like I said, I'm really excited and sad to see where this all goes, to be perfectly honest. I'm hoping they go out with a big bang. I know that they've got a lot in the works for this finale, and I think didn't they go back and reshoot some stuff when they found out that it was going to be the end, if I'm not mistaken. I think they went back and redid some of the endings. Sing the 19 Yep, they did some reshoots. That's what I in a way I'm not, because they're going to end with less episodes than Enterprise. So technically Enterprise lasted longer. So I was kind of glad they weren't breaking Enterprise's record. That was just on Lasso. One of the episodes of Batman this weekend had the Batgirl theme song, and I am not singing it. As far as having Mark and Erica on the show, when there is when things crank up again, I will look at getting them back on the show. Absolutely. But since right now things are in limbo, I'm not gonna ask them to come on the show until they're ready to announce something. I think that's absolutely the fair thing. I think that's absolutely the fair thing to do. When they're ready to announce, I will absolutely have them on. Wonder if we'll get to see Georgiou one more time. That's a really good question. I love Georgiou. She's my girl. Sirius Family Disco is a holodeck episode where Sirius Family Disco is a holodeck episode where Cruz from 5,000 years on in the future goes back and watches a disco mission. I love it. Yes. Yes, exactly. With Riker and Troy. Absolutely. That would be great. But I honestly, I would not wish that on any other series. But you know what would be great is if somehow they were able to do a disco finale that somehow turned into an Enterprise finale, so we could actually get a really good Enterprise finale, somehow like merge the two. Yes, Lasso. What, pray tell, is your question? And please don't let it be a repeat of please sing the Batgirl theme, because that is not happening. But yes, any question you may ask, please go ahead. Please, 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 please. A mashup. Exactly. It's the thing. What did I have for dinner tonight? Oh, Lasso, you are awesome. I had a healthy choice steamer bowl, and I was bad. I mean, I had a healthy choice, but then I had these Krispy Kreme donuts left over from the weekend, and I had one of those for dessert. So that's what I had for dinner. Gold Peak has a 0 sugar sweet tea that is so stinking good. So I had it with, but I will say it is made with aspartame, but everybody's got to die of something. So I had it with Gold Peak 0 sugar sweet tea. If you don't believe or want to be anywhere near aspartame, I understand, but I buy it like 2 or 3 bottles at a time because it's just so freaking awesome. So yeah, it was good. It was good. That's just what I had a really big dinner last night, so I try to kind of mix it up. Heavy dinner one night, lighter dinner the next night, especially when I'm doing the show. I don't want to spend too much time with dinner when I'm trying to get the show ready. Ooh, pot roast. I do like pot roast. I actually have a baby crock pot somebody gave me for Christmas one year. That I used to cook in it all the time. I used to make chili. And I figured out this really great chicken these chicken thighs with just like this sauce that I figured out for myself. I like noodling around, so I don't follow recipes a lot. But I do love a good pot roast. So, guys, we are at the hour mark. It is 11 here on the East Coast. I did that. I actually had some Thin Mints in my freezer a few weeks ago, Lasso. They're gone now. Yes, baby crock pot. My little baby crock pot. Yes, exactly, Robert. You have a good night too. Until next week. Like I said, I have not figured out, obviously, what the theme of next week is going to be. I'm still hoping to have another big guest announcement at some point soon. Roy looks like he's trying to get my attention. I will not. Roy, if you hurry up and type, I need to say a thing. What do I need to say? You need to say a thing. One Love Chat Pack 2.0 is a thing. Absolutely, War Dog. That good is the thing. What, the live long and prosper thing? I don't. Roy, you've got me stumped. It's 11 o'clock at night. I've had a really bad day at work, so I really don't know what the thing is. I'm sorry. Your end of show. Hit it or engage. Oh, I need a thing. Like Let's Fly. I gotcha. I need a thing. I mean, if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. I do like ending on Live Long and Prosper. Remember the Fantastic Four. That's a thing. That's absolutely a thing. The Thing is a member of the Fantastic Four. And anybody who says that it's anybody besides Michael Chiklis can kiss my behind. Because I go with Live Long and Prosper. Because it's perfect and it's classic. And unless I come up with another thing, I have a feeling when I get done this, Thing is also a member of the Addams Family. Yes. Now that you've put that in Lasso's head, I think I'm going to have a problem with Lasso feeding me taglines for the next week. And Lasso, TM is not a tagline and is not a thing. I will not be saying it. I'm just putting that out there right now. And he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But until I come up with a thing, or if you guys want to throw some things at me, some thing suggestions, there you go, an audience poll. If you guys want to throw something at me on socials, you know where to find me on socials. Seacrest. Yeah, the last thing I am saying is Seacrest out. If I could think of something that's enterprise related. Oh wait, what was that? Yeah, Jolly Good. There you go. Jolly Good. No, I'll think of something. I will either think of something, or Lasso, who used to be my producer back in the day, might think of something. So we'll see. But guys, thank you so much. Catch the shuttle. No, probably not, War Dog. But keep trying. Keep them coming. You guys all know where to find me. Let's see. Now that I forget what I'm trying to be clicking on. There we go. All right, guys. Hopefully you all have a great night, a great rest of your week. And until I see you next week, do not forget to live long and prosper.
You've been listening to the NX 7062